broadcasting has started.
Thank you, Carol. So welcome. This is Liz Christofferson and Carol Vickers with Empower Consulting Group on behalf of Practice Pay Solutions, who have been so kind to sponsor this wonderful Business Mastery Series event. Practice Pay Solutions is a leading provider of merchant card services and online payment services. So we strongly suggest that you visit their website at www.practicepaysolutions.com to learn more about not only the wonderful services that they provide, but to also learn about other Business Mastery Series programs scheduled for later this year. It's really exciting time for us because we have a wonderful, wonderful person on the session with us, Craig Jennings. And Craig is going to speak to us. He's going to share his brilliance about exceeding limitations, how to jumpstart the growth of your business. But I want to tell you a little bit about Craig and about what you're going to learn today before I hand it off. So he's going to be presenting an outline that he created called 10 Mistakes Small Business Owners Make to Keep Their Business Small. It's about helping you to identify, eliminate the things that keep you from creating growth, expanding your income, and finding fame and fortune. Craig has 15 years of experience with small business owners, and he recognizes that each are different and they all want growth. And he says, it's like a small tree. It doesn't take much, just a little sun, a little rain, a little dirt, and up it goes. And the same can be true for you. So as we go through the presentation today, I want to encourage you. His website is www.craigjennings.com. You can also email him, craig@craigjennings.com, because as he goes through these 10 points, there is additional information that he can provide for you. You just need to request it of him. He also has an audio CD, 99 Prescriptions for Inspiration, take one before breakfast, that he'll be offering later in the program. Remember, inspiration is critical to successful small business, and Craig is just the man to share with us all of the wonderful experience and brilliance that he has to offer. So before I turn it over to Craig, just another reminder to the audience, a copy of the presentation will be provided, as well as if you have a question or you have a comment, we want to keep this interactive, be sure to type them into the chat box or the question box, and we'll facilitate that for Craig. So Craig, welcome to the Business Mastery Series by Practice Pay Solutions, and thank you for joining us today.
Oh, this is terrific. You're absolutely welcome. I'm delighted. And if you're listening to me now and you're a small business owner, this is maybe the right place for you. What I want you to understand is that this isn't my purpose here isn't to put you down or make you wrong, but I'm going to talk to you about the 10 mistakes small business makes to keep their small business small. And I want to suggest that if one of these mistakes belongs to you, you can identify it, eliminate it, and suddenly you create growth, income, perhaps fame and fortune. So the 10 mistakes that small business owners make go like this. The first one is to stay small. I work 24/7. I work and I work and I work and I work and I work. Do we have anybody who recognizes himself in this connection? Well, I want to say that my compliments for your effort and industry, but not on your planning. But a business owner who works 24/7 will first achieve ecstasy because it feels so great, then errors, then burnout, and not infrequently bankruptcy. Working 24/7 is exciting for a while. A lot is happening. You feel creative and effective. But working 24/7 is a spectacular way to run your business and yourself right into the ground. Now, I put together an article about this, about time, info number 1. And it's available to you if you like. And it talks about the CEO had a $300 an hour bookkeeper. Because if you ask a CEO or small business owner how he divides his time between CEO work, managing and chief employee work, where he actually does work that an employee could do, most will say 10%, 40%, 50%. I think most of them are exaggerating. It's likely that many of us spend even more than half our time on work we could and should delegate. But taken at face value, in a 10-hour day, many spend an hour on CEO time, 4 hours in managing, and 5 hours on chief employee work. Doing it. Okay? Now, if you're a sole proprietor, then of course you have an excuse. Here are 3 that I've heard a lot. It would take me twice as long to train someone to do it as I do it myself. Or no one can do it as well as I do. Or no one seems to get how big a job this is. Right. How in the world are you going to grow your business? You're working flat out right now. You don't need more clients. You need more time. You get more time by putting some of your work in other people's hands. Okay, that's number 1. Number 2, to stay small, you want to be modest. Okay, and this is a little sarcastic. If you manifest to others that you're small, new, and inexpensive, you want them to pat you on the head and give you an assignment out of sympathy. Some of them will pat you on the head. Most will just ignore you. You dared to open a business, okay? Now, instead of staying small, dare to play big. Go for bigger customers. Instead, ask for an article. You can ask for me for an article on marketing. I call it Info 2. It's written by my guru, Robert Middleton, who has 6 daily marketing practices. And I'll spell them out for you. 6 daily marketing practices. First, plan your day every single day. Long-term plans, middle-range plans, fine. Plan your day every day. Night before is really good. 2, write something every single day. You may be a writer or you may not be a writer. But marketing is about communication. And if you're writing, you are communicating. You may be worried that you don't have much to write about. But when you commit to writing every single day, I absolutely promise you'll soon discover you have far more ideas than you have time. Here's number 3. Connect. Speak to a minimum of 1 prospect every single day. You want to connect, whether it's someone you meet for the first time in a networking group or a follow-up to a prospect you just sent a proposal to. Make it a priority to connect daily with at least 1 person who has the potential to be a client. Okay, now that sounds like a full boat, and that's halfway through. Track your progress every day. You don't know where you are in the game of marketing and where your prospects are. How do you know what move to take next? Track everything counts. Your web visitors, your e-zine opt-ins, the number of contacts you make, the number of appointments you set up, so on and so forth. Marketing is a game. And can you imagine any other game where you don't keep score? Here's number 5. Read every single day. There's plenty of knowledge about marketing and selling, but if you don't study this matter, it might as well not exist. You don't need to read a lot every day, but you need the stimulation of new ideas. And finally, and this is the tricky one, work on your thinking every day, your mindset. What you think determines your actions your habits determine your life. I mean challenging and questioning limitations of your thinking. If you do these 6 things, you have the potential not only to transform your business, but yourself in the process. Okay. Let's go to number 3. To stay small, don't hire out. Failing to delegate is a critical, headed for disaster mistake. You probably don't have to pay people much to do the things you're not good at. And they'll probably do them faster and better than you can. Not only that, it'll give you more time to do what you're good at. Guess what? I have an article on info number 3 on delegating and hiring out. Is there anybody out there who has heard themselves in the first three of these mistakes? Anybody prepared to admit to that? Okay.
Yeah, we have a couple of them, Craig. A couple of people recognize that.
Okay. Well, do they have any comments? Can they speak? Or they just
well, I've got a comment, which is that they used to be modest, but not anymore, and that makes a difference, doesn't it? Yes. Okay. If you like, I can just keep the comments flowing whenever I get them for you.
Oh, that's terrific.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Now here's another way to stay small when you're running a small business. Don't charge too much. Okay. If you don't charge a lot, you're playing safe. And of course, you're starving the business for income. You cannot grow if you don't earn. You can't attract other people to you if you can't earn enough to support them as well as yourself. As you charge more, you'll be able to afford more. You always knew that the egg came before the chicken, didn't you? I have an article on how much you should decide what your customers should pay. Now, it doesn't, when you have your own customers and they've come into you at whatever price you charge, those are the people you make your living with. And what I'm saying is it's possible to reach out and get better customers that are prepared to pay more for the same services, if you dare. Okay? Here's another one. To stay small, tackle the urgent tasks immediately and get to the important ones later. It's easy to do the urgent things first. It's sort of, they're exciting, they're challenging, there's adrenaline in them. But you're putting off profit and opportunity. This is a major problem for small businesses. It's best addressed with a partner or a coach. There's a guy by the name of Covey, Dr. Covey. He's no longer with us, but he wrote an article called "Why Do We Put Off the Really Important Things and Get Lost in What Michael Gerber calls doing it, doing it, doing it." And he made it clear that he divided your tasks into 4 groups below. So group number 1 is important and urgent. Task comes to you and it's important and urgent. You're going to say, oh, time to do that. Now the second kind of task that comes to you is not important but urgent. And since it's urgent, you tackle it anyway, even if it's not too important. Now according to Covey, the next task that you tackle is the not important and not urgent task. Well, why do you bother with that? The answer is because it's easy. You feel like you've accomplished not much, but something. And what are we missing? We're missing the task of important but not urgent. These are the tasks where all the profit is, where all the value is. They're important, but they're not urgent. And if we let them slip, we stay small.
Craig, I have a couple of questions that we may want to just pop in there.
Go.
One was Barbara asked how to figure out what to charge.
Well, that's okay. Let's see. Thank you, Barbara. Thank you for connecting. How do you figure out what to charge? Well, first of all, you already know what you are charging, right? Take that and double it. Take that and double it. And then do some marketing and see how that works. Maybe you're only charging half what you should. Maybe you can't get any clients at double the rate. But if you try and you're successful, Think what you've done for your business. Coaches in particular have discovered that rates are much more flexible than they are. So really easy. Put together a bigger rate and try it. Any other questions?
One more. Philip has asked, the highest priority to focus on first is to stop working 24/7?
Yeah. Thank you, Phil. Working 24/7 is such a trap because at the beginning it feels so great, you feel so powerful, and you're doing all these things that you never did before, and you have so many different tasks that you have to perform in running a small business. But the problem is that some of those things you do brilliantly. There are other things which you do a lot less than brilliantly, but they're just some things that you're not great at. And what's true is that you can usually find people who will work for a whole lot less than you will, who can do some of the things you can do, and maybe do them a heck of a lot better. And Philip, the third point here, and this is critical. The only way you're going to be able to create growth is by getting people to work with you. If you're working as a solopreneur, you cannot grow until you begin to get other people working along with you. That's a really good question, though. Thank you, Phil. Okay, let's go on to number 6. How's our time? Oh, pretty good. To stay small, you wait for word of mouth to work. How many people have met a small business owner who chuckles at that and is delighted about his word of mouth? Well, there's nothing more delightful than have someone come to you that you've never heard of and say, I heard about you and you're really terrific. Here's my money, let's go. Or something to that effect. I'm pre-sold. I've heard about you from others, and here and let's get started. Wow, that's exciting. The problem with word-of-mouth business is that you can't control it. And when somebody comes in over the transom, as it were, and gives you some business, you will accept it, of course. But you can't decide when you want it. Now, if you're a big business, you say, well, we want a little bit more income this month or this quarter. Let's put $50 million into spot TV in the top 50 markets. Well, wonderful. But a small business owner has to do some better things, some different things. And I want to suggest to you that I have an article on endless referrals, where you can create a referral strategy, where you deliberately work to get referrals from people who will refer others to you. Now, if you do that regularly, guess what will happen? Over a period of time, you'll begin to have a network of people who are happy, pleased, delighted to refer folks to you. Then you're creating your own word of mouth. And guess what? I have an article on endless referrals, which I'd be happy to send to you. Okay, now, item number 7 and number 8 are a package. Number 7 says, to stay small, you want to avoid the big vision nonsense. We haven't defined our long-term strategic objectives. We don't have a picture of what our business will be like in 5 years. Chances are it'll look pretty much the way it does now. Well, if your future is going to look just like your past, then you have my sympathies, not many. And you're not going to grow. Vision building is difficult work, and it is perhaps the most procrastinated of tasks that the small business has. But you are the general, and you can sit down and create the strategy. What is this business going to look like in 5 years? In 10? In 15? Bill Gates had a spectacular vision when he was Pipsqueak. He said, I want a computer on every desk. A computer on every desk was the vision back in 1982 when he came up with it. It was ridiculous. What would you want computers on every desk for, cluttering them up? Usually, at that point, businesses put one over in the corner and had somebody who was some wonk go over and do a few things on it. Gates saw into the future. And you want to have a vision. A big vision means you have a look down into the future and you say, what might happen there? And you say, okay, this might happen. This is the way my business should go. Let's see what I can do to make it happen. Okay? To stay small, I'm going to suggest that we abandon the mission as well. You've heard about mission and vision. Okay? Mission is different from a vision. A vision is a picture into the future of how your business is going to grow and prosper. What things are going to take place that haven't taken place yet. A mission is a little more tangible. John Wayne says, okay, men, we're going to tackle that hill. Okay, and everybody comes up the hill behind Big John. That's a tactical objective. So a thoughtful business owner or general makes long-range strategic plans for his business. Then he makes some tactical plans for each situation. Plans his work, works his plan. And guess what? I have an article on mission, vision, and goals. It's info number 7. If that particularly interests you, honestly, it's difficult to do because you have to make stuff up. But if you can do that for your business, something exciting will happen, not only for you, but the rest of the people in your business. They'll get what you want. They'll get your vision. They'll get your mission. And you won't have to tell them every time. Okay? Now here's number 9. We have any more comments, by the way?
A few, but I think what we can do is wait now till you get to the end, and we'll address them. So I've got a few good ones.
Okay, great. Okay, fine. Well, then we have 2 more. Another way for a small business to stay small, and every one of us gets a little bit of this, is study your checkbook. You look at the checkbook today and the balance is thus and thus. And you look at it tomorrow or next week and the balance is such and thus. We have this income and we have that outgo and the balance goes up and it goes down. And that's important. But your balance is checkbook balance is a trailing indicator. It tells you how things are after you can't do anything about it. Now, there are leading indicators which will help you grow. What would be a leading indicator? Think about it for a minute. Sales calls per week would be a leading indicator. You know that if you make a lot of sales calls, you're going to have more business than if you make a few. How about new clients as a percent of total clients? Okay. How about monthly bottom line profits compared to last year? How about monthly sales forecasts? Leading indicators will help you see how you're doing long before the checkbook will, when you're in a position to make a correction. My info number 8 is, shouldn't small businesses have dashboards just like cars? And most of us never put a dashboard in when we build our small business. Why do we need a speedometer when we want to go just as fast as we can? The answer is you want to know when you're really doing well, solving your problems, getting new business, growing your business. This is critical. On your finance page, you could include your checkbook balance, your projected income and expense, the value of inventory, your gross and net income. On your marketing page, new markets, new strategies, your website, Google Google ranking, projects started, projects completed. on your sales gauge, new business calls per week, warm calls per week, appointments. How about the ratio of appointments to meetings to closes to dollar value? Now, here's a tip. Whatever you decide to measure, make these rules. Somebody else besides you be the scorekeeper. You need to see these numbers coming from out of the blue, and you need not to be able to fiddle with them. The scores have to be delivered at the same time each day or week or month. The scores have to be in writing and put in your desk or in your notebook. Then you have a look regularly and decide what you decide. You're not looking for advice. You're not looking for correction. You're not looking for sympathy. Just the score. You may be only willing to tackle one score at a time. And you can add to your dashboard later on. Now, there are a lot of good reasons not to build a dashboard. It's challenging work. Your performance is on trial. And somebody else has to know how well you're doing. But there are 3 wonderful reasons to build a dashboard. You will be self-driven, and it will keep you focused. You'll have a running record of your accomplishments and your failures. And what do you suppose you learn most from in a small business? Yeah, you're right. Your failures, not your accomplishments. And you will become stronger, more focused, and if I can say so, you will become richer if you build that dashboard. Okay? Now, I'm going to say the last point is to stay small. The critical thing to do to stay small is to avoid change at all costs. Shakespeare put it very nicely. He said, of all the words of tongue or pen, the saddest of these it might have been. In fact, you have both time and yourself right at this moment to make all the changes you need. If you've described yourself as a person who doesn't have enough time, let me suggest a different point of view for you. You have all the time there is. It's just a point of view. Okay? If you have all the time you and yourself right at the moment to make all the changes you need, if you don't take full advantage of your time, there's no point in working for yourself. Where do you find the time? That's right, it's been there all along. Most people avoid change. And if you avoid change, then your future will look like your past. Now, if you're willing to look at change and growth, we can explore this a little bit too. I have 2 articles. One is an article on discipline, and one is an article on accountability. I'll give you just a little taste of that. Well, discipline is something that you'd much rather do to other people than yourself. Okay? And we have an adversary in our business. It's called procrastination, and it's universal. But we can recall when we decided not to report to the man any longer. That's maybe why we started our small business. We would be our own boss. We'd make it our own. We had a complete picture of what had to be done and when and by whom. At the same time, we gave ourselves permission to decide when we could procrastinate, to fudge, wiggle out, or flat out change our minds. We change our minds about our duties, our deadlines, our obligations. Sounds pretty good. Actually, that's why banks are so squirrely about loaning money to young small businesses. That's why 6 million small businesses started up this year, and why 40% of them will be gone in the first year, 80% in 4. That's time and capital invested without significant return. Not good stuff. Well, let me just, this self-examination is one of the rewarding and painful parts of being an entrepreneur. If you've been troubled by the lack of discipline in your business, come and have a look at my article, okay? It will be gentle, but it will be direct. And then the last thing I'm going to talk about is accountability. It's much in the news these days, mostly as complaint. Would you agree that accountability is much avoided? When you point your finger at someone, the favorite remark is that there's three fingers pointing back at you. But if you're an entrepreneur, you may have discovered, as I did, that there's absolutely nothing harder than making promises to yourself than keeping them. I don't know you, but I will personally give myself any sleazy excuse I can make up rather than admit failure or laziness or carelessness, or unwilling to look ahead, or especially do something I don't want to do. There are 4 different kinds of accountability. Them to you, you to them, you to you, and you to someone you trust. And I can give you some more detail on that because I have an article on that as well. Okay, that completes the 10 points and some comments that I made on them. Do we have any questions that I can, or stuff like that I can respond to?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Craig. One of the questions I think was asked several different ways, so I think it's a good one. It's what you recommend for your dashboard or tracking time or important things to do that often carry over to the next day.
Okay, let me have a look at the article that I wrote on that. That carry over till the next day. Mm-hmm. Is the point of it that what?
No, I think
when
it's
they carry over.
I think the question is really about a simple method to create the dashboard or tracking your important things to do.
Okay, well, actually, it doesn't take a lot of wizardry to build an Excel spreadsheet and create a graph around the data on the spreadsheet. Most of us know how to do that, or some of us do. And if you don't, you can find particularly some young whippersnapper who can handle Excel beautifully. But as you put the numbers in day by day or week by week, you create a graph. And it's the simplest thing in the world. I have an article on dashboards which will give you a whole series of different items that you might want to choose. When I coach, I ask my clients to think what they would like to study. And most of them don't have anything to say until we begin to explore what is really important. And it's so different from each business that what the CEO of your business wants to look at is entirely different than the CEO of mine.
Right.
I guess that's as far as I can go with that, without
Okay.
detail.
No, that's great. Thank you. Another question that was asked by Janet was, is there a charge for your articles that you refer to?
How does no sound?
I think that was the answer we were hoping for.
Yeah, no, Janet, thank you. Thank you for making the assumption that there was so much value in it that I might charge for them. Let's hope that that's true. But part of it is my own vanity. When I write these articles, I really hope that they will make a difference for people. And so I would be thrilled to send an article to you, one or more. I'll send you all 10 if you want. And to open a conversation with you. Janet, you got a deal. Anything you want for anything you want for nothing. How does that sound?
Sounds awesome. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Another question that was asked was about growing your business. The difference between subcontracting or hiring employees. What's your recommendation?
That's a good question. I can't give you a straight answer. Hiring your own employees is tricky because we make it so. We are usually, small business, usually slow to hire and slow to fire. But if you made a hiring mistake, you don't have to go far to find some small business owner who's made a hiring mistake and regretted it for months and months and months before he fixed it. The value for somebody to have somebody working for you in your business is that you have another idea, another point of view, whether they're at your level or much below your level, you still get their feedback and their ideas. Okay? When you work with a subcontractor, it's a different relationship. In a subcontractor, you say, okay, I want you to do these 3 things by Thursday. And when he does those 3 things by Thursday, he goes home. He's done. So a subcontractor is easier to manage and less powerful, in my private opinion, than an employee that you've hired to do the same thing. Let me sum it up by saying, if you do it well, wise, lucky, or whatever, an employee will bring you more value. A subcontractor may be a quicker solution to a particular situation. I guess that's the best way I can dance with that.
That was very clear. Thank you. And on the same line, Barbara had asked how to keep track of the work that you were outsourcing. She commented that some of her clients don't do this well.
Work that you're outsourcing. That's interesting. Let me see what Barbara's talking about here. If I give somebody a job to do, I can't imagine that I would forget that I did it. Okay, Barbara, I don't understand. I guess that's the best way.
Let's see if I can ask her. I'll just unmute her mic and see if she could ask the question more clearly.
Great.
Barbara, I've unmuted your phone or your mic. Would you like to ask that in a different way? Oh, I'm not sure whether she's able to.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Just put a little question if you can, Barbara, and I'll click it back on if you're able to answer that, ask that one a different way.
Okay.
I have another question that she's asked, though, which is what you think about paying for referrals, as is common in the real estate world.
Well, I guess I'm going to have to say that if you have to do it, you do it.
Right.
If there's value, look, if somebody gives you value and wants to be compensated for it, and you're satisfied with if the value is greater than the compensation, that's a pretty good deal. Most of the time, you can ask me for a referral from someone else, and I'll give it to you and say, congratulations, God bless. The real estate world, I think, is a special and sometimes very difficult environment, and people are struggling for every inch they can get. I think you have to go with the flow there, Barbara, and I'm sure that's exactly what you're doing.
The follow-up to that question was just what your thoughts are about bartering.
Absolutely. Bartering is, essentially bartering is sort of what we're all doing. Whether we're bartering time, money, effort, inspiration, or whatever it might be. And if we can give something that provides value for someone else, and they can give something that provides value for us, and we can both think that we're the winners in that circumstance, then we're doing beautifully. The barter is usually a big win or no particular loss for a business.
Right.
Depends how smart the CEO is.
That's right. Okay. All right. Just a few more questions.
Okay.
Liz wondered if you could share with us some specific strategies for increasing your prices or charging more.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I'd love to. Here's how you increase your prices. You take the prices that you have, and you multiply them by a factor, let's say of 1 or 2 or 1.5 or 2.7 or 1.3 or whatever, and you see what happens. Now, if you multiply your prices by 1.1, nothing much is going to happen. If you multiply your prices by 2 and double your prices, what do you think is going to happen? First of all, you can keep your old customers at the old price, providing if you take customers on at the new price, they don't talk to each other. But if you're going to if you're looking for new customers at a higher price, you're going to have to look in a different place, in a different way. You're going to have to change your marketing and your sales, mostly your marketing, to find new customers. But the thing that's really scary about this, or scary, really interesting about this, is that it's so easy to do. You have made up your mind that no, they won't pay more than X dollars an hour or a minute or a week or whatever. And you will be surprised to discover how much more flexibility you have in pricing if you just try. You just give it a shot. There are people out there who will pay a good deal more. I promise you this. There are people that will pay you a good deal more for your service or product than you're currently getting, particularly if it's a service. And the only way you're going to find out, take a chance.
Good point.
I think that puts paid to that one.
It does. Thank you. Barbara clarified for us in writing. She said she does a lot of cold calling and prospecting, not tasks that have a defined end date. They continue, and with some clients, she doesn't have much interaction. So that goes to her question about how to really make sure that the work is being completed.
I'm not clear.
Well, she was asking.
She's in cold calling, right?
Correct.
Okay. And she does cold calling for Joe and Sam and Bill.
Right.
Right. And she does 10. She charges by the call or by the minute or whatever. Okay, right. Now, well, if she charges by the call or by the minute or however she does it, how does she raise her prices? Is that the question?
No, I think it's how to track the time. So that if she has a dashboard that has a daily view, how to extend that out.
Well, I'm scratching my head here. I don't know. I don't understand. Obviously, she can. If Barbara is making cold calls, the chances are she'll make X or Y cold calls an hour. She may set aside an hour for Craig and an hour for Sam and an hour for Bill. And she may make 6 cold calls in one, 7 cold calls in another, 8 cold calls in the other. And maybe she charges by the hour, and maybe she charges by the call. But however she charges, if she wants to raise her, if she can keep track of what she does over time. Doesn't take a lot to say to mark that down. If anybody's ever been through landmark education, they make a lot of calls, and they just make X, 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 and when they get to 10 X's, they put a 0. And then on the next line, X, 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 and 0. And you keep track of it just manually. Not sufficient.
Good point. Great. Well, I have one. Barbara was going to try and call in, so we'll just keep an eye and see whether she's able to do that. She didn't have a mic on her computer.
Okay.
But just asked, what key messages you've gone over so much wonderful information. What key messages would you like to leave us with, Craig?
Well, God, what a nice question. Okay, and so it's this. First of all, I'd like you to know what the purpose of this webinar is. It's to help you get into gear, get your A into G, if you'll pardon the expression. get moving forward and moving in the right direction. There's so many of us who move and stop and move and stop and go backwards and forwards and up and down and so forth. And I think that the ideas that you got here will help you get moving in the right direction, whatever that direction is for you and your business. Okay? And you've had an opportunity to consider the 10 mistakes that many small business makes. You can make any others you like, but you can decide whether any of those mistakes belong to you, and you can consider some serious action around that. You might have a limiting belief or a hiccup or a problem, or the emergency brake is on in some place or other. And if you can fix that, it will make a huge difference for you. Okay? You've also found a way to get some source material on any of the mistakes that interest you. There are articles on my website at www.craigjennings.com, or which I will email to you if you like, and they're free. Now, perhaps if you forgive the short commercial, you can explore the actions you want to take with someone who's made every single one of the mistakes at least once. Now, who could that be? Oh, might be me.
Yeah.
Anyway, I want to suggest that if you're ready to confront change to improve your business, one of the great ways to get change is to use another view. Binoculars give you perspective because you have two on it. You get a second point of view. And as long as the point of view has the same purpose as you, it can see different things in a different way. And that's called hiring a coach, or at least exploring a coach, because a coach is a way to get a partner without equity. A coach is a way to get somebody else who will work just as hard and is just as motivated towards your success as you are, but costs a heck of a lot less, and you can buy him or rent him by the hour or the day or the whatever. I'd like to suggest that I've had a wonderful, I've started 8 businesses in my life. And some of them were a roaring success, some of them were okay, and one took me into bankruptcy. So I have had a fair amount of experience at all the different levels of business. And I worked for a couple of Fortune 500 companies as well. But if you want to confront change, there's nothing more powerful or more difficult. And the reason it's difficult is not because the actions are hard, but because you don't want to let them happen. And a coach will help you make change. One of the most exciting things, from my point of view as a coach, one of the most exciting things we can do is to sit down with a business owner and decide where change needs to happen, where his limiting beliefs are. That's what we're struggling with all along, limiting beliefs. Where his limiting beliefs are, and is he willing to give them up? Sometimes they are, sometimes they're not. And let's pretend for a moment that each of you who are there has a limiting belief of some sort or other. And maybe you got some ideas from the 10 mistakes, that what they might be. I want to suggest that if you're ready to confront change to improve your business, I'd be happy to schedule with you what I call a strategy session. It will take over an hour. It's normally billed at $375. It's by phone and face-to-face, and it's free. I'll ask you a lot of questions, and the purpose is to uncover the limitations which are holding your business back and identify strategies for overcoming the limitations. So let me just complete with this. If you've got more, I'd be happy to come back to it. But if you're ready to move forward, ask yourself that question right now. Am I ready to move forward? Well, it's easier when you have help. And here's how you do that. 1, you call me. My name is Craig Jennings. I'm at 516-944-6454. That's 516-944-6454. You can email to me. I'm at Craig@craigjennings.com. Or you can go to my website, www.craigjennings.com.
We have that on the screen for everyone as well. So
Oh,
thank
good.
you, Craig.
Okay.
It's incredibly generous. And
Just
I think
last line.
Of course.
The strategy session is free. And most small business owners discover that it puts money in their pocket in an hour. Okay.
Yeah. And I got word back from Barbara that she wasn't able to phone in, but she is going to call you.
Okay, great.
I'm sure she'll have some other questions for you.
Perfect.
And I think one question that I think would wrap this up quite well is just how your suggestions, because I know we're all in the same boat, how to create time in your schedule to work on your business as opposed to in your business.
Well, there's a secret weapon. There's a secret weapon. Creating time is, in some respects, what we try to do. And the issue really is the control that you manage around time. There isn't any, people talk about managing time. If you remember the little critters they put on the piano, that the metronome that went tick-tock, 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 tick-tock?
I
You
do.
can manage that. It just keeps going, okay? But you can manage yourself. And one of the things a gal by the name of Rena said to me was, I can't manage, blah, 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 complaint. I said, why don't you create Rena time? He said, oh, can I do that? I said, well, let's allow you to do that. She said, well, how would I create Rena time? I said, well, Rena time is from, let's say, from 8 to 9 o'clock in the morning. Would that be okay? He said, oh, well, yeah, I could do that. Okay. Set aside Rena time for you at an hour in the morning and put 3 things in it each day.
Right.
If you get it all done, Rena time is over. Or you can put your feet up and so on. If you set aside a piece of time and be steel about it, because the kids come in and they say, oh my God, and something else happens and the house is on fire. Okay, the house is on fire, you got to move. But when people come in and say, oh, you've got to help me with this, you've got to help me with that, you say, you're absolutely right, but I can't help you with it until Rena time or Craig time or Joe time or Barbara time is over.
Yes.
Because I'm busy doing Barbara time right now. Just setting aside 1 hour a day, having it as totally discretionary to you. I'm going to put this idea in this time period, and I'm going to do what I need to do until the time is up. And if you haven't gotten it done at the end of the hour, you're over. We'll come back to that tomorrow.
Right.
You will be amazed at the amount of control you feel.
Yes.
And how well you and after a little while, people say, oh my, how well you use time.
That's right. Because I liked what you said. You can't create time. The time is what you have. There's just what there is.
Yeah, and you have all that there is.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, that's fabulous. Thank you so much, Craig. It has been an incredible hour of just packed with information, and I definitely invite everyone who's on the line to take advantage of your generous offer for an hour of your time, and the contact information is there. And I just want to thank you, Craig, for sharing your brilliance with us for this hour, and to thank Practice Pay Solutions for creating this environment where we have this webinar time together. Just want to remind everyone that if they might be listening to this as a recording, Craig, so you may get calls that are later after this has gone out. Anything that you would like to add?
Yeah, all I want to suggest is that what I'm hearing now and feeling is a great deal of gratitude. And gratitude, feeling grateful is a wonderful place to be. I'm grateful that I had an opportunity and that you guys provided me the support to to talk about something that's really important to me, and hopefully to the people that were listening. And I hope the people who were listening got some value out of this as well. But when we're all in a position where we can be generous and grateful, good things have to happen for us all. So let me just hope that good things will happen to us all. And thank you so much, all of you, for the opportunity to be here today.
You're most welcome. Thank you, Craig. On behalf of Empower Consulting and Liz Christofferson and myself, Carol Vickers, I thank you so much and look forward to hearing from our listeners about their thoughts on this, and hopefully you get some great feedback on it as well. Thank you so much. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.